And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, winner of the National Radio Hall of Fame Award, Michael Savage.
This is your day. This is your celebration. And this, the United States of America, is your country. What truly matters is not which party controls our government, but whether our government is controlled by the people. January 20th, 2017 will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again.
Everyone listening to this show was part of this inauguration because without you, and of course the millions of others, he would not be president. He won by a hair, by a nose, and he won because of a few votes. You are a big part of today. You should have a festival in your own mind. And I want to know on the show today a couple of things. This is what I want to know. How do you feel now that Trump is president? Feel. F-E-E-L. I can give a speech about his speech. I can give a speech about the pomp and circumstance, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to listen to you, the listeners of the Savage Nation. I want to know how you feel today, right now that you know that Trump has taken office. Many of you are afraid that the outgoing maniac would pull a trick at the last minute, but thankfully he's such a low piece of work that all he wanted was a free ride on Air Force One to Palm Springs. Now, mind you, he has a house 2 miles away from the White House, but he had to milk the perks to the last second and fly on Air Force One all the way to Palm Springs, California, just to get the last ounce of freebies out of the festival of today. The fact is, it's a big day. It's a clarion call to begin Trump's war is what it comes down to. It is the beginning of Trump's war. And today I'm going to talk with you about what Trump's war is and how we, the people who elected him, must remain vigil and retain our independence. And we're also going to talk about Trump's enemies list. That's right. There's a fantastic list of the enemies of Donald Trump. They're so stupid that they announce themselves. And it is the most comprehensive list of the leftist groups supporting the Disrupt J20 event that was attacking Donald Trump and will be attacking Trump all day today and in the future. These are the anarchists. These are the student morons. These are the left-wing communist bookstores. These are the propaganda distribution outlets. These are the anti-American websites. These are the hacker collectives. These are the shadowy leftist groups that are part of the worldwide radical movement to overthrow the United States of America and steal our freedom. It is a list put together by Lee Stranahan on Breitbart, which I'm going to read to you. What they've done conveniently is give Jeff Sessions a pocket list of groups that must be rooted out immediately. Listen to me very carefully. I live by the First Amendment. I live by free speech. I'm in total favor of speech of any kind, to be very honest with you, except speech which calls for violence, and speech which tries to take away my freedoms, and speech which tries to block the President of the United States illegally. They have named themselves. So what happened today in the speech is the issue. What happened today and what you witnessed today is the issue. Now, before we begin taking your calls at 855-400, how do you feel? I know how I feel, but if you don't know what you feel, if you're numb, and I'm not being sarcastic, try to imagine how you would have felt right now as you're listening to the Savage Nation if you had seen her up there, Hillary Clinton, taking the oath of office. When I turned the TV on this morning, I was infuriated. I was incensed, almost to the point of enragement. When I watched the lowest of the low, Charles Schumer, giving a speech, I thought that this piece of work had been gone. He embarrassed himself in America during his speech at the inauguration. He gave such a disgusting speech, Schumer, that all you could do is hate him for it. All he did was bring up the Civil War and slavery on a day that we wanted to celebrate. Let us say, out with the old and in with the new. There was Charles Schumer bringing up the Civil War in the most, how shall I say, stupidly pompous way you could ever imagine, shaking his head, thinking the world was going to pay every attention to him. He was an embarrassment to civilization, and yet he was up there. I don't know why he was there. I guess protocol demanded that Charles Schumer, or the person in his position, introduce Clarence Thomas to swear in the vice president. But I will tell you this. All Charles Schumer did was tell us over and over again why we threw Hillary Clinton and the Democrats out in over 1,000 seats. Never forget that it wasn't just Hillary Clinton who lost. President Obama was such a horrible divider and such a poor leader and such an all-around slacker that his party lost 1,000 seats during his reign of terror. That's right, 1,000 seats. No matter what you see on the news, no matter what the vermin in the media tell you, no matter what the fake newsers tell you, Obama presided over the death of the Democrat Party. Did you hear what I said to you? They lost 1,000 seats because of this goofball. So then I think it's over. I wake up, I turn on the TV. My luck, there's Charles Schumer in the most pompous, boring, horrendous speech about the Civil War you could ever imagine. That was the one-off note. Now, before we take the calls here on the show, this is a glorious day that you're always going to remember, the 20th of January, 2017. We all worked very hard for this day. This, for me, is a 22-year fight, personally. For 20 years, I've tried to see a day like today occur. Why? In plain English, no matter what Trump does or doesn't do, he's already saved the nation from the left wing's desire to roll us into a new world order. It just will not happen under him. That's number one. And in his speech today, he said some of the things that we did need to hear, and we'll play some of those. Now, many of you complain about me and about talk radio by saying that we exaggerate and that we omit. Well, let me read something to you. It's a one-liner. There was an author from many, many years ago named Bajot, B-A-G-E-H-O-T. He wrote a single sentence on this issue, and he said this. He said, to illustrate a principle, you must exaggerate much and you must omit much. Did you hear what I just said to you? That's what I do on radio. It doesn't mean I distort much. It doesn't mean that I lie. It means that I know how to illustrate principles. And my 3 principles have been and continue to be and will continue to be during the next 8 years: borders, language, culture. Did you hear? That's what it's going to be. What a change after 8 years of I, me. We heard the leader of our nation talking about you and we. From the look on Michelle Obama's face, there was a nightmare of anger and contempt. Anger and contempt on Michelle Obama's face like I have never seen before. And there was Obama sneering, fighting back sneering with his jaw clenching as Donald Trump spoke and took apart his agenda point by point in his speech. There was the idiot Charles Schumer, an embarrassment to Katz's Delicatessen. Charles Schumer is not fit to serve corned beef in a delicatessen in Manhattan, let alone to be introducing the vice president. But there was Schumer defiling the stage today by comparing the divisiveness of the Trump presidency to the Civil War itself. All I can say to you in New York, shame on you for voting for that piece of work. But remember this, and here's the good news. They lost. They lost, and they're doing nothing but showing their bitterness and their loss. They're trying to rile up the mobs in the streets of losers and miscreants who cannot believe that they can no longer continue to run roughshod over the American people. The vermin in the gutters who hate that they heard words about being proud of America. The filth from America and the world, rioting in the streets, breaking windows, setting things on fire, as they heard the Bible quoted and God mentioned so many times, I thought that they would commit suicide. The speech Trump gave was one we have not heard in so many years from the leader of this nation. He spoke about the love we all share for this country, the greatness it once held, and the greatness he hopes it will one day hold again. You heard positive statements about America that you have not heard in 8 years. And you heard talk of unity and a coming together for all Americans. And moreover, you heard a lot about God. You haven't heard about God in the 8 years that the golfer phony snake was in power. The golfer phony snake didn't believe in God. We all knew that. We knew he was an atheist, socialist, communist. But today we heard about God. We heard how God has blessed this nation and how we will look to God again to guide us in our new president. It was phenomenal to learn that we have a president who actually believes these things and speaks about them. And here's another observation that I'd like to give you as we begin today's inaugural show on the Savage Nation. And it's an important one. We must reserve the right to be critical supporters of Donald Trump. You understand what I'm saying to you? We put the country in his hands today, and we expect to hold him accountable. Do you understand that? You must not become slavish worshipers of any man, including Donald Trump. You must still retain your right to be displeased with the president when you feel that he has failed you and does not support the goals and principles that we elected him to enact. We all have great optimism for America now that our long national nightmare of the Obamas is gone. But I advise you to tread with caution because we do not know what to expect. And that's exactly why I wrote a book that, frankly, Donald Trump should have written. I was on my bicycle before the show, and I was thinking about my book, Trump's War, Trump's Plan to Save America. It's a strategy, a number of chapters, all the things we believe in, and all the groups that are going to oppose him, including the Republican Party and all these issues. I said, this should rightly be called My War by Donald Trump. That's really what the book is about. I want you to think about this. Take my picture off the front of that cover. Put Donald Trump on that cover and change the title from Trump's War to My War, My Plan to Save America by Donald Trump. And that's what Trump's War is really all about. And I am sure that somewhere in the next number of months, Donald and I will talk about the ideas in Trump's War. Well, at this juncture, I'm going to go back to the callers. As you would expect, the lines are sold out. How do you feel now that Trump is president? What did you actually feel in your heart and your mind today as you watch this? This is the Savage Nation. I'll be right back to take your calls. Thank you for listening.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. Vermin in the streets will go back where they belong, which is the sewers they crawled out of. There's MSNBC with cameras on the 6 anarchists that they could dig up from the mental hospitals, waiting for them to riot or beat up a police horse. There are more reporters from NBC than there are anarchists in Washington, D.C. right now, and more cameras trained on fewer vermin than you could ever imagine. But there they are, hoping that they'll riot or beat something up or break down a wall or set someone on fire. Those days are over. They don't understand there's a new sheriff in town. They don't understand this is not going to go on for much longer. They don't understand that their days of rioting, their days of rage are over. Let me tell you something else. Our days of rage have just begun. Our days of rage have just begun. It was so beautiful to see on television today the Bikers for Trump as they were interviewed. And they said, well, we love Donald Trump because he speaks from the heart. We love Donald Trump because he's one of us. We love Donald Trump because he's for the people. Well, the reporter who asked them that just was nonplussed by it. She didn't know what to say. These bikers are really tough dudes. They're the wall of meat. And apparently the wall of meat has not yet met the black-hooded college boys who were apparently off for the day again from studying Sociology 101. But we don't know what's going to happen because very soon the president will lead the inaugural parade right down the center of the city, and that's when the vermin will try to break through the police lines. That's when they'll try to act up and show how tough they are. I don't think they're going to get too close. This is not Baltimore. This is not Ferguson, Missouri. This is our capital. This is our president. This is our White House. This is our day. And I guarantee you that they're going to wind up where they belong, which is on the short side of a nightstick. WJJF, Liz, quietly tell us, how do you feel today? First caller on this inauguration day. How do you feel today?
Mr. Savage, thank you for taking my call. I feel so proud. I just still want to cry. I cried watching on my cell phone during my lunch hour. His speech was impeccable. It came right to everybody's heart. And I do believe, Mr. Savage, if it wasn't for you and your listeners, he would never have gotten into office.
Let's say this, we played a big part in it. Let's put it to you that way. I mean, the victory was marginal in terms of votes in different states. We played a very big role on the 300 and some odd stations, or 250. I don't know how many I'm on. But very critical markets were required for this victory, and I think the Savage Nation played a big role. But that's not what we're looking for here, Liz. We're not looking for a slap on the back. We're looking for Obama to be gone and for Trump to slap the baby of America on the back and make her live again. Thank you for that call. How do you feel today? I mean, I'll tell you the truth. I'm a little numb. How do you feel? WABC, Ari, line 2, fire away. How do you feel right now?
Michael, I'm cautiously optimistic. As a 20-year-old in New York City, I could tell you that I think his speech reached more minorities than any of these pathetic excuses for a news organization can possibly imagine. I know that the blacks and Hispanics are more for Trump than they even know. Some of the biggest volunteers in Trump Tower in New York City were black. They don't even want to talk about it. It's the biggest story the media won't cover.
You know what? I'm not even interested in race anymore. I don't want to hear any more about it. I'm sick of it. Before Obama came along, we weren't even talking about race. We're living with what was and trying to get along. Then all of a sudden, the con man came along, and he used the act he's used his whole life to get where he was, which is to divide people and turn people against each other and talk about Jim Crow and talk about the horrors of the Civil War. He wouldn't stop. It's over. Let's not discuss race anymore. I'm sick of it. Can we just forget the issue of race? The race baiter is gone. Hail to the chief. That's all. I don't want to hear any more about what ethnic group was where. I don't care. All I care about is Obama gone, Trump wins, close the borders, beat the ISIS, and that's the end of it.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE.
To all Americans in every city, near and far, small and large, from mountain to mountain, from ocean to ocean, hear these words: you will never be ignored again.
Well, neither will the 95 anarchist and communist and socialist and anti-American groups be ignored again. They're going to be watched around the clock. They've already caused mayhem in Washington, D.C. At least 95 of these vermin were arrested as these filthy lowlifes clashed with police, smashing windows around the nation's capital. They were pelting cops with bricks and rocks. The cops had to fire back pellet guns, tear gas, flashbang grenades. This is not Baltimore. This is Washington, D.C. And by the way, the MPDC is doing a fabulous job. My only wish is that they arrest them all before they really hurt somebody, because it's going to happen. One of them said, "We have no ideology. We're just here to fight," shouted a vermin wearing a black bandana over his face as he threw rocks at police. Another protester yelled, "Surround the police." Several of these rats tossed several newspaper containers and trash cans into the middle of the street and set them on fire in order to build a barrier between them and the police. 95 arrested today. These are the type of, let us say, malcontents. Let's use a classy word. These are the malcontents that Hitler used to man the concentration camps. Let me put it to you that way. Many of you don't understand something that you should understand. These are not innocent college students who are upset with Donald Trump. These are malcontents who are malcontent in their hearts, malcontent in their minds. They are the losers of society. Nothing will ever work for them. And in such, they are a danger to the social order. Now, as long as they protest peacefully, they have a right to do so. But when they start to attack the police during an inaugural parade, no, they don't. Burn things, no, they don't. Throw rocks at police, no, they don't. Block the parade, no, they don't. These are the type of malcontents that Hitler gathered off the gutters of Germany to make them into guards in concentration camps. I don't think you understand that. The lowest of society was used in the beginning to man the concentration camps. That's who these people are. These are evil people, and they must be stopped. Before long, they will be stopped. And I want to ask you today, other than these left-wing fools who will be dealt with, truthfully, little by little, they'll all go home. They'll go back to living in their parents' basement and collecting their health care that Nancy Pelosi and Obama gave them until they're 28 years old. They have no jobs, no way to make a living, no skills other than disruption. Soon the money will dry up. The number one way to do this is to seek out the funding for these groups. Remember, they are all funded by organizations. All of these organizations are funded by an umbrella organization. Most of these umbrella organizations are funded by one villain. This villain must be investigated by the incoming Attorney General. This villain knows who I'm talking about. Everybody knows his name. The villain must be investigated by Jeff Sessions on day one. The villain and his rotten son on Park Avenue should be scrutinized and investigated by the IRS for every shady deal they've ever conducted. Only then will the villain stop funding these groups, and only then will we have relative peace in this country. Well, I have more to say about this villain a little later on in days to come on the Savage Nation. There's Donald Trump now in the presidential limousine leading the parade, while the outgoing bum is enjoying his last ride to Palm Springs. He had to milk it. He had to milk it for one last ride on Air Force One. He had to milk that last ride, Obama. He had to jump on the plane. He had to go to Palm Springs. You know why? Because he had to milk the last dollar out of the American taxpayer. Never forget what he did to you. He added $10 trillion in debt to this government's bill. Did you hear what I just said? He came in with a $10 trillion national debt. It is now $20 trillion. Where did that money go? I'll make it easy for all of you supporters of Barack Obama. I'll make it very easy. Almost as soon as he became president, $500 million was given to a shady fake company in California named Solyndra. Do you remember what happened shortly thereafter? Do you know who the board of directors are for Solyndra? Do you know some of them were on the stage? Oh, yeah. Some of them are on the stage today. Some of them are senators. Some of them are congressmen. Some of their brothers and sister-in-laws run that company or ran that company. Another fake solar company. $500 million went missing 8 years ago. And the fake FBI went in and investigated by seizing the records almost immediately. Remember when the fake FBI went in? Right at the beginning, it was run by Eric Holder. The fake FBI under Eric Holder seized all of Solyndra's records. Nobody has told the American people where the $500 million went that went up in smoke. And that's only a spit in the bucket of what was stolen by the green gangsters under Barry Obama. $10 trillion. Where did that money go? Who got the money? Why have there been no investigations? My guess is Trump has more important things to do than look into these things, but I would not be surprised if Jeff Sessions does not investigate where that money went. And he ought to start with the Solyndra crooks in the San Francisco Bay Area. John on WABC, how do you feel today?
All right, Mike. Even though it's raining out, I can see the sunshine. And I can tell you one thing, Mike. You played a pivotal point in this election because when Trump announced that he's running, the media went after him, the Democratic Party, the Republican Party went after, they were savaging him. You had him on your show, and you were saying, listen to this guy. This guy's a patriotic American, and you are correct. We have to hold his feet to the fire. There's a lot of things we want done. We want done. We're not going to accept any kind of nonsense or any half of anything. We want the whole thing because they put this guy into the presidency. And people have to realize there's a psychotic nature people have, and you understand this. When people knock you more and more, for some reason people want to do more for you. We have to make sure that Trump does not show this in his personality and his dealings or anything that he does in the next 4 years.
Wait, I'm not, not show what? Not show what in his dealings?
Let's say these groups keep knocking him. I notice people, when they get knocked by certain groups, want to do more for that group, even though that group wants to see the person.
Oh. In other words, when he gets criticized by the left, he might actually reach out to them because he's being pressured by them, is what you're saying.
Right, but not only pressured, in the person's own personality, they might want to show that they want to be liked by these people.
Well, that's right. That's why Trump reached out to so many leftists already. He was trying to get them in the tower, in the White House. That's what you're talking about. All of the sports figures, the idiots like the actor came in, Leon DiCaprio. He was trying to make them like him. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, but it could be two things. It could be just a show, which we don't accept, but we know it's part of the act. Or he could actually, try to make these people like him and start doing stuff for him.
Yeah, that is correct. You're 100% right. That is the danger, is that everybody wants to be loved. including presidents. And the only one who didn't want to be loved by half of America was the president who just left. He basically called us every name under the sun and put us down. Trump, on the other hand, is trying to reach out to everyone. That's his strategy, which is to get the opposition on his side. It may be a winning strategy in the long run. The problem is not so much that he gets them on his side, but that he starts to believe that their beliefs are valid. That's the real problem, John. John, listen to me. I'm going to put you on the list of the people to get the first copies of Trump's War. If you'll stay on the line, John, for being such a loyal listener from KSFO. In fact, I'm going to give it out today for all people who get on the show. Just make it a victory day for all of you. Anyone who gets on the show gets a free copy of Trump's War when it comes out. Thank you for calling from New York City. Let's go to Dallas, Texas on this day, this amazing day. Trump takes charge, 45th president vowing a robust first 100 days. We're going to see everything that we asked for, I think. How about the Affordable Care Act? How about immigration? How about sanctuary cities? How about ethics measures? How about government reform? How about a hiring freeze on federal employees? How about American workers? How about labeling China a currency manipulator? How about allowing projects like the Keystone Pipeline to move forward? How about directing UN funding towards American infrastructure projects? How about turning back some of Obama's policies? Obama signed 19 new executive orders and reversed 9 of the orders signed by President Bush in his first 100 days. Did you know that? During Obama's first 100 days, Obama signed 19 new executive orders, and reversed 9 of the orders signed by Bush in his first 100 days. Let's see what Trump does in his first 100 days, because we all want him to do an awful lot. How do you feel today? You, the people who put him in power. KLIF, Renee, Dallas, Texas. How do you feel today, my friend?
Dr. Savage, I feel blessed. Do you hear me? My sister texted me and she said, you know what? I didn't care too much for Trump, but after hearing his speech, I so admire him. I told her, I said, I've been trying to tell you. And I'm going to continue to educate her with your book, Dr. Savage. I feel blessed. I mean, I'm walking today. The bums even seem like they're happier. It's a thank God.
You're not telling me there are bums in the streets of Dallas, are you?
Hello?
You're not saying that there are bums in the streets of Dallas, are you?
Yes, I am. But you know what? They're happy today. They're happy today.
It's funny, you're projecting your happiness. It happens to be true that when we're happy, dogs that are white look whiter, dogs that are black look blacker, bums that are unhappy look a little happier. The sky looks a little brighter. So you're having a very manic-y moment, Renee, because of the election of Donald Trump. Is your family on your side?
They are now. My mother has always been. She finally woke up. And me and her, we watched the election. We stayed. We both cheered. We were happy. And then today, we both texted each other today. I asked her, was she watching? She said, you know I'm watching. And Melania...
Renee, let me ask you something. Renee, as an African-American woman, what do you expect Donald Trump to do that would affect you personally?
Jobs. The economy.
Interesting. It really boils down to the economy stupid, as they used to say. So you hope that by stimulating the economy, by bringing jobs back, by making the foreigners spend their money here, by building the factories here instead of shipping them off to Mexico or China, you feel that'll trickle down to people down on the working level, right?
Yes, sir. People like me. Thank God.
Well, wait a minute. I want to ask you something. I don't want to just run over this. What kind of work did you do that you would like to do again that you think you might do under Donald Trump?
Legal.
Well, what do you mean? You're a legal assistant or a lawyer or what?
Legal assistant. Paralegal.
And what? You're out of work right now?
No, I'm not out of work, but I'm underpaid.
So I don't want to delve into the details of what you get per hour. You feel that your wages will go up? Why would that be?
Because Donald Trump said that he's going to make America great again. He's going to bring back jobs, living wages that we can live on, wages that will allow me to buy a home. People like me who voted for him. and want
Wow.
to come out.
No, this is very interesting, Renee. It's easy to just listen to a caller and then go to the next caller. But I really wanted to hear from your heart what you're actually expecting. I would like to know how you as a legal assistant would directly benefit from anything that Trump does. How could that actually happen, is what I'm trying to think.
Well, what I mentioned to you before, and I also forgot about immigration. I'm ready I live in Texas. I'm ready for this border to be shut down. Don't let anybody in here anymore that doesn't belong in here. If you're not legal, don't come. Our state
Okay. Well, that's pretty clear. How come we didn't hear from you before the election? I don't think MSNBC interviewed you.
But
I guess they didn't come outside your house with a camera. They didn't come outside your house with cameras from CNN and ABC and ask you how you felt about Donald Trump before the election, did they? But you sure have a voice on KLIF to Michael Savage and quite a big audience here. Renee, God bless you, and thank you for listening. Stay on the line. We're going to put you on the list, as are all callers going to be on that list for the first copies of Trump's War, which are going to come out in early March. It's a very important book because it's a model of what he must be doing. It's good to have tears of joy, but now we have to get down and make sure that he does what he wants to do and not be blocked by those who don't want him to do it, you know. Now, what about you never-Trumpers? Jim, try to get some of the never-Trumpers up on the show. I want to hear how they feel today. Are they changing their mind now that they see that he's a human being without horns in his head? When they saw his beautiful wife who's going to restore the dignity of America again? Yeah, I'm sorry to tell you. I took a look at this woman. I did say it from the beginning. It is Jackie O all over again. We have Camelot all over again. A beautiful family. Forget race for 1 minute. Just a beautiful family with the kids. I didn't see any sour, angry faces sitting up there. No axes to grind. No rage. I don't think Melania is going to give a speech where she says, for the first time in my life, I'm proud to be an American. I really don't think I'm going to hear that. Do you? Okay, be here. It's the Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com.
At the center of this movement is a crucial conviction that a nation exists to serve its citizens. Americans want great schools for their children, safe neighborhoods for their families, and good jobs for themselves. These are just and reasonable demands of righteous people and a righteous public.
Beautiful. Now, of course, the malcontents in the media attack Trump. The faker Chuck Todd, the man with the fake beard and fake news, said that it was a divisive speech. Now, to the socialist fake newsers, of course it's divisive. They never heard anything like this, except on talk radio. We'll have that soundbite for you in the next hour, as you listen to the malcontents and the crackpots in the major media complaining that Trump's great speech, which united the nation, was divisive. They have everything backwards, which is, of course, why their girl Hillary lost. Well, we're celebrating today on the Savage Nation. We also have other sound bites. We have a special montage of Trump's appearances on the Savage Nation over the years, little tiny pieces you'll never forget. How do you feel now that Trump is sworn in? This is the Savage Nation. Also, in the next hour, Trump's enemies list. I have the names.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282.